At the previous round in Hastings in Suzuki Superboat, if you got to the finish, you were in the money. Unfortunately, Pat Dillon went wrong. There were problems too for Duncan Wilson. Mechanical issue kept him out of the running. Leighton Manel did yet another engine, and it was left to the defending champion and the points leader, Richard Burt, to show them the way home. This week, though, the whole complexion changes. We're back at Wanganui for round 5, and it's under lights. Welcome to the Shelter View Jetsprint track in Wanganui, venue of round number 1 and venue here of round 5. But the difference is we'll be under lights. That puts a whole new spin on the racing. Well, you see some of the competitors using the lights on top of the boat. This is Chris Munro in qualifying round number 4. Oh, and it set the trend for what would be a busy night for the rescue crew. Munro hit that fence hard. Here it is from the onboard. You can see visibility was a problem, and this is the first turn.
I just didn't see it, to be honest. I started turning in thinking that I was coming in at the right time to hit the apex, and I was about 6 feet early. Just cut in way too tight. I don't know, driver error.
Aside from the nick on the top of the head, you're okay?
Yeah, no, just probably be a wee bit sore tomorrow, but other than that, yeah, the adrenaline's going.
So some problems there for Chris Munro. Well, stop me if you've heard it before or seen it before, because of the very same corner, the very next run, Pat Dillon.
What we've been doing is playing with fuel mixtures, and that time it was going really good, so it's probably the fastest I've been down there tonight. And took that turn, didn't even think twice, just all of a sudden that's island. Went across the island, just thought I'll just ease it as it comes back in the water, but you're going too quick. Slipped across, hit the tyres, and away she went, out of our control. Yeah, but no, the boat's come up good, dent in the front. Motor never got water in it, so she'll be good. No, be good. We'll be out there again, and that was a qualifier, so we're out there again.
Chris Munro did the same thing. He said it was driver error. Was it driver error with you? Did you turn in too soon?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see, on some of the other islands, you'll see we've got white pegs here. Obviously, on that one, we thought it wouldn't be a problem because you've got a big perimeter. It's quite wide, but no, I just got too greedy, cut in, and that was it. Took me, so I'm just going to have to follow the tyres on the outside next time around there, yeah.
Well, that was enough for the organisers and the rescue crew. They decided to make some changes. They moved a couple of the white marker points down to the apex of the turn, and they made all the drivers go down and have a good look at the course changes. Mel, we've had 2 drivers' meetings, and I guess it's about the conditions of the circuit. What's the outcome?
Okay, what we've done is we've put some more marker posts out there, Phil, so the course is marked a lot clearer on that particular issue. We beefed up the safety measures on the fencing area where the boats have exited the track as well, and overall we're pretty happy with what we've done. The drivers have all agreed to carry on. No one, in complete unison, no one's agreed to pull out. They all want to race.
Well, if you have a look at the top 16 in the Superboats, it's pretty much the same as we'd expected. Richard Burt and Roger Maunder on top, Leighton Manel and Kelly Manel in second, and Duncan Wilson and Jamie Lee Lupton in third. Faster than born Rob Coley has jumped into the sport of jet sprinting, boots and all. The Wanganui resident had no previous motorsport experience, save for a very fast jet ski, but now is the owner and driver of one of the most fearsome Suzuki Superboats, the ex-Ferguson 700 cubic inch big block white pointer. What made you get into jet sprinting?
I was sitting on the bank a few years ago and thought something I wanted to do. Love speed, sick of getting speeding tickets actually. Thought this would fix the problem.
So this is Rob Coley as we move into the top 8 here, and this is a weapon. 1,050 horsepower, 705 cubic inches. It's like bolting 4 Toyota Corollas together.
First year driver, rookie, another rookie.
What a boat to get into the sport with, 705 cubic inches. He's stepped in the deep end.
Well, you can see when it gets a little bit of a straight piece of track, it just lights up, doesn't it? And they've got the darkness to contend with as well, so it's been a steep learning curve for Rob. Oh, and he's just clipped the side of the island there, but the power of the boat has got him out of trouble, Jamie.
Well, it was just about completely out of the water. Started off the day with a navigational error, then they settled into a 66 down to the 62, so looking to continue to find time with this new combination running very wide there, though.
Oh, look, he's making a few mistakes, but he's living to tell about it, and that's more than some of them have done. As you've seen, Chris Munro already already out. He won't take any further part. This guy might if he can bring it home quickly.
How can you not make mistakes with 705 cubic inches?
Exactly right. Is he going to go faster than he's gone before? In the darkness at Wanganui, it's a 1:02.02.
2:02. So here we go.
And that's his fastest lap of the weekend onto Jamie Cooper with a somewhat unique light setup.
Yes, it's got that familiar look about it, hasn't it? The blue and reds. Well, he's going as fast as a police car as well. Another guy that has adapted well to the lights. Now, ex-sprint car driver, maybe he's used to racing in the darkness.
Well, I've been seeing times sort of down and around that 63-second mark as well. I just can't get the Dukes of Hazzard out of my head for some reason, Phil.
Well, the way we saw Chris Munro come out of the water, I'm not surprised.
37.25 was Rob Coley's split coming up here for Cooper, who's done a pretty solid job in his debut year in Suzuki Superboat.
He really has. He's been there or thereabouts, and he's thereabouts again, 36.70, so he's faster than Coley.
Well, he's looking to improve on a 63.6 best in qualifying 4. You can hear the boat just losing traction there as it got sideways.
Well, that's going to cost him a little bit, but I think this is going to be a good run for the young man, brand new to the sport of jet sprinting, another one that jumped in right at the top end.
Well, he's certainly spectacular. Here's the final time coming up, 63.3.
Here we go. Jamie Cooper.
It is the fastest to go so far. This is Brent White, though, and Brent White's another one that's had a pretty steep learning curve, decided to get into Suzuki Superboat at the beginning of the season, missed the first round here at Wanganui, and I've got to say, Jamie, that this is a very difficult rotation, even under daylight conditions, and we're here in the darkness.
Well, these guys started the day at a 64.9 in qualifying 1, and then they just backed up a touch, got into the 69s, the 71s, back to a 67 in qualifying 4, so just looking to find their feet with this race boat.
Well, he's got a new co-driver on board tonight as well, has Brent. Sean Hastings sitting in the second seat. Oh, he's drifted a bit wide.
He's running around the tyres up over the islands. He's made a mistake before that, and if that's a way of correcting it, it's unique.
Well, I guess if you're in trouble, just gas it up a bit more. That's what Brent White's thinking about now.
He's definitely made a mistake because we're still waiting for the split here, Phil.
That's right, he hasn't got to that point yet.
I'm lost.
Unbelievable, this is going to blow out. Well, it's bad luck for Brent because he really has put together a good season.
54.09. Well, a couple of the Superboats have actually been quicker than that in the full rotation, so he's obviously made a fairly big error early, but what a way to correct it. He ran around the tyres at that part of the course, then ran over the island. This is definitely not going to be the fastest time of the weekend. He may have the honours with the slowest. It's been eventful.
It's been spectacular, call it what you will, but Brent White is getting a fair bit of time on the water. This is going to go out in nearly 2 minutes.
1:21.32.
Well, Pat Dillon has got the boat repaired. You heard him say in the interview he'd never gone quicker. The boat had never felt better, but then he put it up into the fence. It's back to its pristine best now.
Probably a big part of the reason why it did go off, Phil. But yeah, I mean, he's such a character. Good to see the boat back out there. It was a fairly nasty off. You can see the damage to the right side of the hull on that brand new white pointer. It's definitely raced now.
And you know what was good about it, Jamie? Everyone pitched in and helped. He was over there with his big Ford neon sign, and all the Chevy guys came over and they're all lending a hand and getting out the crowbars and the hammers and getting it back to its best.
It's not sounding overly helpful. It just sounds a little bit flat for that regular supercharged mount. There's the split, 35.68, so the fastest of our splits so far, but it does not sound right.
It's down on the revs, and I know he was confident that the engine didn't get any water in it, but I would suggest that it probably has been a little bit waterlogged. In fact, I was talking to his engine builder, Grant Rivers, and he said, yeah, that would be a problem.
Fastest time to this point was a 57.1. It's going to slow up a little bit from that. Will it be enough to get into the 4?
Well, he should do. 1:00.79 for Pat Dillon. Well, Duncan Wilson, you can guarantee he's going to go faster than that because he has been already.
Well, we've stepped up from the police lights. Is this the emergency version?
Oh, that's right. This is the rescue crew tender you've got here.
You can tell he hangs out with the Luptons, can't you? Characters in the GP hydroplanes, of course, does a lot with the Lupton guys in their racing, and in turn the Luptons have a bit to do with Duncan Wilson and the lethal injection boat. Jamie Lee Lupton sitting alongside.
And save for a bit of bad luck, I mean, Duncan's season would have been very, very strong. He's had a couple of DNFs, a couple of crashes, had a bit of a crash fest at Featherston.
56.9's been their best so far. Split 33.9, easily the fastest split so far.
So lethal injection getting toward the business end of this run now. will be the fastest run we've seen in this elimination. Remember, from 8 we'll cut them to 4, then there'll be just 2.
It's like a bit of a salute to the emergency services tonight in Suzuki Superboat as we get the run to the line. 57.7 for Duncan Wilson.
Well, Leighton Manel, well, you've got to have everything crossed for Leighton and Kelly because they've had nothing but mechanical DNFs over the last couple of rounds. They did an engine at Hastings, they've rebuilt it again, they're here at Wanganui, and Leighton's another one. He said he was looking forward to this all season. Just the spectacle of running under lights and this huge crowd here at the Shelter View Aquatrack.
Well, the boat is running well because they've had the honour of the fastest time so far today at a 53.3 in qualifying 3. Now, we've had the traditional blue and red lights, we've had the orange emergency lights, now we're back old school with the single red light.
Well, we might be back old school, but we're back fast because these guys, look at the split, 32.06, 4 seconds faster than Jamie Cooper, so he's on the bubble at the moment. Another Wanganuiite. Where do they come from here? This is going to be a very fast run for Leighton and Kelly, and the good news, the engine's held together so far. Don't want to put the mockers on them.
Look at the change of direction through that last sequence of corners. He is absolutely on it. This is quick, 54.
Woo. Well, you know, when somebody goes fast, this guy normally matches them or beats them. And look at this, he's done a 54. That was in the top 16. What can Richard Burt and Roger Maunder do? You're on board with them here.
Well, they did a 54 too, you're right, but the Manels have had the quickest time at a 53.3. Getting used to the change of light in your face. 500 cubic inch small block. And they've had some engine problems. They've sort of been patching it up with Band-Aids and race tape.
Well, that's right.
Rounds.
They had head gasket issues here at round number 1. Then they had more problems at Featherston in round number 2.
31.3, the split.
I think it's an omen when Richard says they have a problem. He just goes faster and faster. 31, that's the fastest we've seen.
He's gone 7 tenths quicker than Leighton, and now this is going to be very, very quick. 53.78.
Well, it was quick, and it was quick enough to be the top as we go to the top 4. So Richard Burt will be in there and in your face. So too will Leighton Manel, and Duncan Wilson will make it as well. And Pat Dillon, well, he did enough. So Pat was the slowest to qualify. He'll be the first to go in the 4. Here is something for the Ford fans. Now, there's one thing about Pat Dillon, and we've seen this plenty of times over the last couple of seasons. The hog takes a bit of a beating, but it just keeps on going. And it sounds a lot better than it did in the previous round.
Well, it sounded very, very flat. It's still not quite as crisp as we're used to hearing this boat. Split coming up, though, for Dillon. No, it's definitely down on power and RPM, Phil, and I think progressively it's getting worse through the run.
Yeah, it is. It's slowing down dramatically here.
Just struggling to get the boat out of the corners, looking for the split 35.5. So he's actually about a tenth and a half up on his previous best, but is not running properly. So,
and you would think, Jamie, in these bitterly cold conditions we got at Wanganui here tonight, and this very, very thick air, thick humid air, these things that have more power, they'd be going faster, but it's not the case here for Pat Dillon and Steve Edmonds. They've got some problems.
Looking for a sub 60 though out of it, a 59.93. Will that be enough?
I was talking to Grant Rivers before. He said that last run the engine was full of water. It's a credit you're even still here.
Yeah, that's right, eh? Yeah, we got that and the alternator started to pack up. So obviously it's lost top revs. So I've sort of got to, as soon as it starts missing, just back off a bit. So I don't know what our time was, but we just couldn't give it to it, you know? Yeah, but anyway, we're here. We haven't wrecked everything. Sort of.
I love his attitude. It's fantastic. Duncan Wilson, Jamie Lee Lupton next to go. Lethal injection. Pat Dillon, nothing phases him, does it? Let's see what these guys can do, because they have been fast.
He's always got a smile on his face. So's Duncan Wilson. He's probably the other end of the spectrum. Very understated, but tells it how it is. If you want to know what's going on, just ask Duncan. He'll tell you.
Well, 57.70 in the top 8. This is the top 4. He'd be looking to go quicker.
Well, he's done a 56.9 in the top 16, so he has got a little bit more time. Oh, that was a big moment.
Oh, that might have cost him a second, maybe a little bit more even. We'll see as we come to the split time. 34.86 for Duncan Wilson. Compare that to his time last time of a 33.90.
With that mistake, it just set up the next corner very, very late, and it just sort of messed up that whole sequence of corners, and at one stage, the whole boat got up out of the water. I could actually see clear air under the boat.
Well, it's another eventful run for Duncan Wilson and Jamie Lee Lupton, but I tell you what, it's not going to be slow. Oh, it's just flows out a little bit. 59.12 may not be good enough. We'll have to see. Now, is this man going to deny Duncan Wilson? This is Wanganui importer Leighton Manel and his wife Kelly sitting in the navigator's seat. And look at the times before, 56.5, then it plummeted down to a 54. He'd need to be in the 53s, I would think, if he wants to get into the 2. And if he does that, he will eliminate Duncan Wilson.
Well, he's still got the honours of the fastest lap of the night at a 53.3. That was in the late afternoon, third qualifying session. So, well, Duncan Wilson in a 59, and he's made the mistake.
Oh,
Talk about the commentator's curse.
It's a drive error this time for Leighton Manel.
Just got the back of the boat around, and that was all that it needed. Flame out through the exhaust. Well, that is big news.
And it certainly takes the pressure off this man. Not that he really responds to pressure. Richard Burt and Roger Maunda. Father-in-law, son-in-law combination here. And if we have a look at the previous times, he's solidly in the 53s. The only one that's been in the 53s is Leighton Manel, and he's now gone.
So Dylan now sitting on the bubble. Duncan Wilson at the moment looks to be in the final. Oh, a moment there for Burt. He's trying hard. You've got to say that split coming up, and it's quick. 31.61, about 3/10 slower than his previous best in the top 8.
3.5 seconds faster than Pat Dillon, so I would say we're waving goodbye to Pat Dillon. But we mentioned before, he's trying hard. He always tries hard. He doesn't know when to quit. He doesn't need to push it. Oh, he's got a problem. It's on fire. Unbelievable. Oh, is that the engine? Is that the engine gone in the Vitriclays Garlic and
Well, he's spun it up against the island. Has he got to the finish?
Well,
he has 59.13, but it's on fire.
Well, that's the big question. He makes it to the finish, and I got a feeling that they're getting out in a big hurry, and I wouldn't be too surprised if some of them are involved in that fire. Richard Burt trying to climb out, Roger Maunda doing the same thing, the crew quickly there, the rescue crew doing the job, pouring water on the methanol fire.
Philly's got to the line, but he's done it on terra firma and on fire.
Well,
look at this. He got it off the island there. Obviously, it's losing power. He's up on the island. There's the finish line right there where that deep end sign is.
And he gets to the finish line, stops the clock with a 59.13. And can you believe it? That's the second fastest run we've seen in the top 4. Here it is from on board. What a time to be riding with the best seat in the house here.
Definitely loses power there. There's the first run on the island. Here's the finish line coming up. How did that register a time?
Well, I think that was about preservation for Roger Maunda and for Richard Burt, because I think they were in danger of being burnt there.
I think the engine's lunched itself. Basically, I just felt it go flat, and the next thing we're on fire. So I'd say it's done a piston or something and just pumped all the oil out the breathers. Yeah. It's racing.
Well, he's very complacent, is he? Nothing phases Richard Burt. So Duncan Wilson tops the charts in the top 4, so he will meet, will he meet Richard Burt in the final? That's the question. Duncan, as we understand it, all you have to do is get to the finish.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I've just heard that Richard's going to come out and have a go. So, yeah, we're not sure, but there's talk he's coming out to have another go at it. So we'll go out there and have a go at him.
It looked like the engine let go, and that, but they recorded a time. If the engine's let go, surely he's not coming out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I heard all their seatbelts were all burned and suits and all sorts. So I don't really know what the story is, but they've got 5 minutes from now to line up here, and they've got to go first. And if they're not here, we'll take it, hopefully.
Oh, okay, well, fingers crossed it'll be the easiest final you've ever had.
Yeah, it will be, but I know it'll be good to line up, but yeah, we haven't had a very good day. We've been struggling a bit out there on that tight track, so we'll just see what happens.
Well, we can tell you that while Duncan Wilson is preparing down on the line, these guys have got some good news. They haven't lunched an engine at all. It was a fuel line that broke. That caused the fire. Worst to come, though, was Roger Maunda was quite badly burned on his driving suit. They had to replace the seat belts in the boat. That was per the instructions of the rescue crew to get it here. But they're here now, and now the onus comes back onto the Garlickton Homes Vitriclays boat of Richard Burt and Roger Maunda. Duncan Wilson, well, he hasn't just got to get to the finish. He's got to beat these guys.
Well, they're back on the water rider. Now they go first because they set the slower time, but only by 1/100th of a second. You can just see just some remnants of the oil residue because it was a fuel fire to start with, but there was some oil fire in the boat at the end of the run as well. What a night!
You'll see on these boats a big M on the side of them. Well, you might not see it today in the darkness, but that M means these things run methanol. And the thing with the methanol fire is it burns sometimes without a flame, and that's what caught Roger Maunda. He's had to dampen down his driving suit. That got singed. The seatbelts got burnt up.
Oh,
it was
how
a
about
pretty
the
nasty
split?
moment.
30.84, the fastest split of the weekend.
What do you say about this guy? Oh, and there's a bit of fuming coming out of the boat as well, so that engine's not 100% right.
Tucks it right up against the tyres. This is a quick lap, Phil. This is stunningly quick.
Unbelievable. You get the feeling that Richard Burt might be driving angry. What about the 52.23? And there's more drama down on the start line because this is the crew of Duncan Wilson, and I think they've got a reoccurrence of the starter motor problem. In the face of Duncan Wilson tells it all. At one stage, all he had to do was make the finish line. Then the biggest comeback since Lazarus with the Vitraglaze Garlic and Holmes boat, they came back. Talk about the biggest comeback we've ever seen. You looked dead and buried after you pushed it back after that problem on the finish line.
Yeah, fortunately it was just a loose fuel fitting. I don't know where the harnesses came from because I caught Roger on fire. His harnesses have melted, so I don't know where they came from, but whoever ripped them out of their own boat, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
And now can you believe it, from the drama that you guys had in the four, now poor old Duncan's having drama with the starter motor, the problem that haunted him in round one.
Oh, no. What a shame. Oh, so he's not able to go at all.
Oh. Can't push start him.
So, unbelievably, when you guys thought it was all over in the four, you've won again.
Awesome. Commiserations, Duncan.
Yeah. Always a local track, we seem to wreck starter motors. But, yeah, we just had a few little issues there, weren't major, but, yeah, just happened to let us down there. And, yeah, but never mind, that's racing, eh?
And then talk about snatching victory off you.
Yeah, well, we thought we had it, but then again, we still had to start up and go over the start line, so we still would have been, could have been either way, but that's racing, eh?
Well, a dramatic finish under lights here at Wanganui, and Richard Burt pulls it out of the fire, if you pardon the pun. 52.23, Duncan Wilson doesn't get the start. There's one round to go, and can anyone catch Richard Burt? Well, you'd have to say Duncan Wilson in with a chance as we go to the finals in Featherston.